Okay, can you tell I'm a new Visual Studio Code user, just like you are? Well, in our instruction, it says, installed, that we want to enter the command java : configure Java runtime. That took me a minute. If you go to View, you can choose Command Palette. In the command palette, there are a series of Java commands. Type this, but I want to scroll through, kind of show you what sort of things there are here. So if I want to go to configure Java, configure Java runtime, I can click on that and it will bring me to this configuration screen. Now, all of these allow me to change settings, and we may need to set some of the variables. But let's see if we need to first. This also would help to download and install the JDK if we wanted JDK 11. We already have 13, so we should be okay. Let's see if we are. The next step is to set up a workspace and type some code. So the first thing I want to do is create a workspace. And if you've ever used Eclipse, you know that with Eclipse, you have to import and export projects. They're not just like in a folder, they're trapped in a workspace. Well, we don't have to do that for our Visual Studio Code, but it does like for things to be in folders. So the first thing I'm going to do, see if I can turn on this, is open a folder using Open Folder. I'll create a new folder. This will be my VS Code folder, and select it. Okay, now I Visual Code folder, and I want to create a new Java file. Okay? So I can use this new file link. I could use file. I could click on folder and do the plus sign, new file. Yeah, try it. Now, when I do that, it gives me the option to name my file. And I'm going to name it Hello World Java. Ooh, it's mad at me. It says class is incomplete. Only syntax errors will be reported. Now, if I wanted additional things, I can set that class path variable. We saw it, Java configuration. I'm not going to worry about it at this point. I'm going to click back on Hello World code to write this program. Now they're going to become, they're going to create this new class called Quick Start. In our Quick Start class, we're going to have our main, and in our main, we're going to do system.out.println. Now you can see that Visual Studio Code is giving me a lot of IntelliSense help. You can try working with IntelliSense editors. I'm going to type my dot again to get that back. So I find the right one, click on it. I could also tab, enter. What I want to output is my hello world message. If that'll run. Choose F5 should run it. Look at that. Get that out. Now I'm scrolling up a little bit. You should see some things about setup, some Visual Studio Code messages, and then finally the output from our program, Hello World. Now that was pressing F5. I could also right click, choose Run. Output. Everything looks good there. Now, if we want to do some debugging, we can click on the Debug View, which I actually already set here. And then in our code window, we could click here at the leftmost area column to put that red dot, which is a breakpoint. And that breakpoint is where our code is going to stop execution to allow us to debug. So I'm going to go ahead, debug. We see now our execution is halted, sitting here waiting to run this line of code. Now I don't really have a lot of variables in this program, so it's not super helpful using the debugger. But I'll go ahead and tell Java or Visual Studio Code to step into this code and run that line. Oh, look, it's going to jump into all system code that kind of skip. So I'll choose to do step. And finally, we'll be back to our foot. Keep stepping into it and then stepping over all that system code. We're back to ours. And then we're done. Information about the thread class that we don't really need to know, isn't it? So in our debugging, we want to be specific about what we're going to turn that breakpoint off and get this beautiful Hello World program. So congratulations, that's your first Java program in Visual Studio Code. Now a couple of other things. If you want to create a project folder, which is what I would like you to do, you want to use the Java create Java project command. Let's try. I'm going to view the command palette on Java create Java project. And then it says, oh, you need to get the Java development kit. So I'll go ahead and open that link and download the development kit. And I don't know if 13 is too new. It said it supported 13, but maybe it doesn't support all of it. So some issues. I'm going to go back to my Visual Studio Code, my Java configuration. And maybe if we set these variables, it'll find everything a little bit better. So let's try our, that should be It should be finding it because we do have this one. But if you notice, it doesn't include our bin folder setting. I'm going to bring up my command prompt and look at those environment variables. And I do include the bin, Java home. It says my Java home is empty. So I think I'm going to close Visual Studio Code and reopen it. I don't think that I made those changes after I had it open, but we'll check. Oh, and there it is. Bin should be removed from the Java_home environment variable. So now we're going to have to go fix that. We can do it. We want to go to Control Panel, System, Advanced, Environment Variables. I'm going to find my Java home, and I'm going to edit it. I'm going to take off that bin folder. I'm going to close Visual Studio Code, open it again, see if things look a little better. Already looks a little better, doesn't it? Now my class path is incomplete. I'm going to look for more information. The information is on a GitHub repo from Red Hat. I'm going to look at it. So it looks okay. If you simply close the message, it will pop up next time. A standalone Java file is open. So we can also click Don't Show This Again. We want to. Okay. So now let's see if we can open or create a Java project. We can, and I want this to be named Project 1. Okay, and then I see that now in Visual Studio Code, my test project has a settings folder, a bid folder, and a source folder. And in my source folder, app.java file has been created. It says hello Java. It's not ours. It's different. It doesn't say hello world. So it was already pre-created for us. And I did get my message, hello Java. So all is good. Now, as you work with Visual Studio Code, remember it is a new development environment. So there are going to be some great features and things that you're going to love, and there's going to be some things that might be a problem for you. And I'm happy to help you with things. But remember, if the environment gets to be an issue in getting work done, of course, we want to switch to a more stable environment, like NetBeans with an older of Java. So that's why I did not uninstall any of those things off of my computer. Now, because I want to be able to back up that, I am going to check to see if NetBeans is still working. I have a really old release, and of course I'm using it with Java 8. I'm going to close Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to see if NetBeans will still run. And of course, there's a new version of NetBeans available. I'll be making another video looking at upgrading to that. So right now it looks like everything's good. You can see the only thing that I have here is from my object-oriented programming presentation. Let's see if this will still run. Program, and I don't have much output. So it looks like it works fine. So I think everything is good. I've managed to keep these environments separate enough from each other. So in my NetBeans environment, I'm using the Java Development Kit from Oracle, JDK 1.8, which is considered JDK 8. On our Visual Studio Code implementation, we installed OpenJDK, which is from Red Hat and other open source developers that may compete with the Oracle version on down the road. Now, when you're looking at NetBeans, you could change the configuration for your software, and we could actually say that we wanted to use a different JDK. Where's my library? So right now in NetBeans under libraries, the Java platform is JDK 1.8. If I wanted to add that new one in, I could manage platforms. Let's see if it can handle it. It may not be. Program, adopt open say. Lib. I don't know if that's the right one. And then my Java doc. Let's just leave it at that main folder. Sources are okay. So now two platforms that I could use with NetBeans, 1.8 and 13. So if I did do something in my Visual Studio Code project that I just couldn't get to work, I could theoretically open it in NetBeans. And if I were using new features of the OpenJDK, it should be okay. That should not affect anything that uses my default existing Java Development Kit 8. Okay, I gave you a lot there. I know that some of that information is for programmers, some of it's for software people. It's a little bit of both, but I know that you are interested in using Visual Studio Code, so hopefully you get an idea of what you'd be looking to try to do that. Let me know if you have any trouble. Thanks.